Hey everybody, hope everyone is doing well today. It's another fine day here in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Queen City, and I'm glad to see it. I do apologize ahead of time for the wind, but it is blowing quite high today, if that's the right word. I had a thought yesterday that I made a video on, and I'm gonna stick to that subject matter. And the thought was, what does cry loud and spare not mean? But I'm gonna take it in a little different direction, still under the same heading. But as I was resting this morning, I had what I call an early morning, to where I stay up late studying and reading, and I lay down around 6 in the morning and get back up at 12. But anywho, like I said, I was studying or laying there resting, praying. Anybody that knows in and out of sleep, it's when the Most High deals with me mostly. But he put the thought on my heart. The words came out just like this. Yes, we are in a war, but who are you fighting against? We are in a war, but who are you fighting against? And instantly he took my mind to the text about we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against principalities. And then the one about the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty to the tearing down of strongholds. And I want to put those two thoughts together about cry loud and spare not. Well, cry loud, spare not. And who are we warring against? Or who are you fighting? And whether we know it or not, we are at war. And whether we know it or not, we are fighting for a kingdom. Either the kingdom of darkness or the kingdom of light. Good or evil. And that has always been the case, even in our history, biblical history, which is our history, whether you believe that or not. But who are you fighting against? And that goes back to my conversation we was having on, I think the day before yesterday, about being selfish. And we are selfish, we're not. We're actually fighting against the Most High when we are being selfish. And this is along those same lines, that if you're not fighting for the kingdom of the Most High, then you're fighting against Him, because you're warring to have your own way. And another thought he gave me after he gave me those scripts was, the first fight that we have to fight is against the ground. And I said, why would we have to fight against the ground, sir? And he said, because every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. So while you're in the process of bowing your knee, or should I say that stage of dying to self, and bowing that knee and confessing that he is the master of all, it's a fight. Because a lot of times we're going to want to get up. That pride going to want to get in the way. Say, why do I have to bow down to anyone? I'm my own man. I'm my own independent woman. Why should I have to bow down to anybody? Let alone a so-called God I can't see. Make sure I put those in a so-called God I can't see. But that can go a whole lot of different ways. I can jump on that as far as what's there and we can't always see, but we know it's there. Just like today, we're having this wind blowing strong. We can't see the wind, but we know it's here. We hear it, we feel it, and we see the effects it have on nature. And that's the same as with the Most High. He said that in his word that his creation speaks towards, witnesses towards him. I think David wrote that, and I know I'm not putting it in the right words. But he's saying that his nature, his creation, testifies that he is. But getting back to my point about who are you fighting against? And that's a strong question today, because we're always fighting against ourselves more than anybody else. And a lot of times, and most of the time, it's what's good for us. And how we always want to choose what's not good for us. The bad things, the unhealthy things, the bad people, the unhealthy relationships, and most importantly, the wrong God, ourselves. And that's really who we're fighting against when we fight against the Most High. We're fighting against ourselves because he wants what's best for us, but we are fighting against that. I'm gonna let that be the end of this video. Stop fighting against yourself, and more importantly, stop fighting against the Most High. He loves you dearly, and he wants what's best for you. Like I said, that's my time. Stay up and keep pushing forward in the right direction. Shalom. Hey everybody. This is going to be round 2 of my walk. Most High willing, I'm going to try to walk both of these parks every day. I was first at Hornet's Nest. Now I'm out to Revolution Park. But I just saw the darndest thing, as we used to say. Maybe not in those exact words, but I just saw somebody trying to move too fast. And a lot of times that's how we live our lives. Like I spoke on in a video I did a few days back, I said we try to outmaneuver the Most High. And that's what this fella was doing. He was trying to outmaneuver the fella in front of him. He was caught moving too fast. And what he did, here in Charlotte we have bicycle lanes. So it's like a bicycle lane and another bicycle lane before you get to the side of the road. So basically what it is, it's like another driving lane that they have designated for the bikers. So the vehicle in front of the vehicle moving too fast slowed down. So this vehicle called himself gonna go past him in the bicycle lane on the right side of the man. And what this foolish person didn't know was that the truck was turning right. So he ran right into the back of the truck. And as I was going by looking at the scene, the truck wasn't even damaged. Just the small vehicle Mr. Fassy was in, being fast. And I think that speaks a lot to our condition these days. And I know mine, and a lot of times, will have. And I'm sure, well, I don't want to speak against myself like that. I was going to say I'm sure I'll try to outmaneuver the Most High in the future, or try to get ahead of him. But I'm not even going to speak that on myself, because I am definitely in the season of bowing my knees. And I just spoke on that while I was at the Hornet's Nest about the ground being our number one and first enemy when we come into the kingdom of the Most High. And as I said before, he explained to me that every knee shall bow and every tongue confess. Excuse me. So what he was actually telling me is that the ground is being our enemy because we're gonna fight to try to get back up instead of bowing that knee like we should, or them knees, because of pride. Like I said before, we don't want to bow down to nobody as men. And as women, we don't either. We're that independent woman. So we refuse to bow down, not knowing that when we do that, we're hurting ourselves. Because every time we try to get up from that prone position, we're actually getting into trouble and trying to do something that we shouldn't be doing. But I thought I'd add to that since I was out here and just saw that, witnessed that accident. But I thought it was so funny when I saw it. I said, look at that Negro, and that ain't exactly what I said in my heart. I said, look at that nigga, being fast, that's what you get. And Father, forgive me for calling him a nigger, even in my heart. But he was being a nigga at that time. So I don't think I was wrong. But that's where we're at these days. We need to slow down and get back in order, the Most High's order. And as we've been hearing since the 70s about the New World Order, even before Reagan, I believe, they was talking about the New World Order. I know Carter was. But what is this New World Order? It's saying that you don't want the Most High's order that he established on the earth when he created it. As men, we're actually telling the Most High we're kicking his order out. his righteousness, his way of doing things. And that subject was all around cry loud and spare not. And that verse, that text. And what that text is saying, tell my people that they are trying to follow this new order of selfishness, this new order of independence outside of the Most High. And that's actually what sin is. When you try to live outside of Him in His kingdom and in His creation, you're actually trespassing at that time. But that's gonna be my time. I'm gonna finish up my walk, go home and eat me some chicken soup. Well, I call it chicken stew. Like I was telling my wife, it doesn't have soup in it. It's not a lot of liquid. I cooked it with cream of celery, cream of mushroom, and cream of chicken. What I did first was roast the chicken with celery, with carrots in the oven. And then I put in I boiled the rice separately until it was almost done. Then I threw the peas, string beans, and more carrots in the pot to start boiling. Onion, peppers, green, red, and orange or yellow. And while them chicken breasts was getting nice and crispy and browned up for me, golden brown, and those carrots was getting caramelized, the rice was just about ready. I put it on in the pot with the veggies. Of course, season it down very well. And then I threw in the chicken breasts, chopped them up well, and carrots. And after that, I threw in the cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, and actually we didn't get the cream of celery, but it was just as well. But like I said, I'm ready to go home and eat me some leftover chicken stew, roast chicken stew, homemade. Everybody stay up. Keep pushing forward in the right direction. Shalom. Everybody, I forgot to mention my little Daryl hat. You know, the little saying he has on the first 48. Ricky Smiley's little skits. He say, "Leave me alone." He playing a little retarded little man. He's not a boy, but he's a grown man that acts like a child. And Ricky Smiley does a lot of little skits with him. It's called Little Daryl. And I think the funniest one is when he was doing a parody to the first 48. Okay, stay up, keep pushing forward in the right direction. Leave me alone.